Now we're going to go ahead and create the rims. Go into Create, Polygon Primitives, and select a pipe. Rotate on Z 90 degrees. I'll scale it up and move it just like so, making sure that there's a little bit of outer edge showing up. Go into the inputs, change the radius a little smaller, scale it down a little bit. Alright, so this is kind of like the shape that you want, more or less. Now let's play with the subdivision. I'm going to start with the axis, and I'll just decrease that to about 18. Subdivision height, I'll increase that for 3. Press 4, go wireframe. Select edges. And we're selecting these outer edges. Remember, select one, shift select the other one, and double click. And now I'll push that outwards. I'm going to click number 5 on my keyboard. I want to make sure that that edge meets the edge of my revolved surface. Now this looks about right. Maybe we'll do something similar with these two edges here, but we just gonna move them closer together. That looks about right. Now we're gonna create a cylinder, polygon cylinder. I'm gonna rotate it 90 degrees. I'm going to change on the input the subdivision axis for about 12. The radius, we'll change it to 0.5, and the subdivision height, we'll change it to 0.4. I'll move this piece closer together, closer to my edge, and I'm going to select this option here that shows me the wireframe unshaded. Using multiple views can be very helpful. For this one in particular, something like that is very accurate versus trying to do it on the perspective view. Let me push this down a bit. Subdivision caps, we're also going to change that number to around 3. At this point, I'm going to show you how to combine objects. This will be useful as you can now merge these two different objects together into one. So the way to do this would be to select the centerpiece, then shift select the rim, go to mesh, combine. Another thing to notice is that when we do this, you can see here in the outliner they're both different objects, and as soon as I hit combine, now notice that over here it has created a new object based on these two. Now they're still connected, right? Like if I were to select these ones and just delete, it just deletes the whole thing. So it's very important that we go ahead and with the objects, all the 3 objects selected, delete history. And now notice how those 2 nodes just disappear and we're only left off with the 1 object. Now we want to work with creating and connecting these 2 different objects, or these newly combined objects. I'll go in my faces and select every other face of the centerpiece. Hit delete on my keyboard, and in this area we're going to select every other face, skipping 2. Hit delete. Now I'll be selecting my edges, and I want to select the entire edge surrounding that hole that we created, and we're going to try to match it up to the closest one to the centerpiece, doing the same. And with those 2 set of edges selected, go ahead into Edit Mesh Bridge. Now this looks slightly off, so I'll just go into my vertices here. Let me go into a different angle. Side view will work best here. Select it all and just rotate it accordingly so that it's perfect. Now we'll repeat the same exact steps for the rest of the holes. One thing that you might have noticed is that by just bridging these other objects, I didn't have to go all the way to Edit Mesh and Bridge. That's because when you execute any type of command, you can just hit the letter G in your keyboard and it will execute the last command used. To see a preview of your object, remember to go into object mode and press the number 3. We just need to start adding edge loops so that our borders start to look sharper and more realistic. Definitely much better. I'll go in and select my middle faces for this inner rim, grow this selection, Shift, period, and we're gonna scale this up slightly. And we're going to start now adding some geometry by extruding. So I'll extrude around 3 times. One for my object to create a subdivision, the other one to create a very sharp edge, and one more to push in. I will now select these faces and I will extrude outwards. Extrude one more time. As you select these faces, make sure that you are not selecting anything else by mistake. And we'll extrude this one inwards. Oh, so you see, if I press 4 on my wireframe, by mistake, I have selected these other faces. Very important to be hyper aware of selecting the wrong faces. Remember to switch between wireframe and shaded view by clicking 4 and 5 on your keyboard. Remember to make any adjustments as you see fit. At this point, once you're happy with your result, group all these objects together. I'm going to grab here and I'm going to shift grab the tire, and I will Control G. Using your outliner, you can now go into your group and label each one of your objects. So we'll call this rim. How about this wheel rim? We'll call this one wheel tire, and the whole group is going to be labeled wheel. This is helpful in order for you to keep things organized.